talking to my daughter the other day about smoking in Britain, and I was explaining that with the new laws that came in, I think it was last year, that she will grow up in a smoke-free Britain because it will be illegal for anybody below the age, anybody born after 2012 to actually buy cigarettes or vapes or anything like that in this country, which means she will grow up in an era where it's illegal to smoke in Britain, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And it got us talking further then about pubs, and how I explained to her about how I think we may be the last generation to see the UK pub in its current guise, because quite simply, younger people nowadays aren't interested in alcohol. They just don't care. They think it's disgusting, so they don't care. And I can buy a bottle of beer down the supermarket for £1 a bottle. And yet if I go to a pub, that same drink is probably going to cost me 5-6 quid. So why in God's name would I go to a pub? So there's loads of people now that aren't going to pubs because it's cheaper to drink at home, and the younger generation aren't interested in alcohol. So the UK pub is now facing a dilemma where the customer base is getting smaller and the prices are getting higher, and all that's going to do is drive people away. Now some pubs adapted years ago and they started doing gastro meals, so now you've got a lot of pubs that double up as restaurants, and those ones might survive. But the typical UK pub that, you know, sells fish and chips, pie and chips and a beer, those I think will disappear unless they adapt. So the old Thatched Tavern that we're looking at there may disappear because it's not a restaurant, it's a pub. The little micro pub just there to the right next to the vape shop, both of those will be gone. And I just found it super interesting. I may be wrong, I don't know, but I certainly believe that in this country we may be the last people that actually see the UK pub as it is. So all the smaller, you know, like the tiny village pubs where I live, you know, they'll be gone. They won't even exist anymore because all they do is sell pie and chips and beer, that's it. It's quite sad. I mean, just to my right here on the corner, that used to be the Froth and Elbow. That got knocked down years ago. And that's in the middle of a busy town. So it just makes me wonder, you know, how are these pubs going to survive? And the UK pub in itself has been around for hundreds of years. You know, we've got pubs that are older than American civilization, than their country, their Declaration of Independence. You know, we're talking 400 or 500 years the Great British Pub has been in existence. And we could very well be the last generation to ever use one. And this is by no means a plea from me to say, quick, get out there and use our pubs before we lose them, because I myself don't go to a pub. I just don't. I might go once or twice a year, if that, just to meet up with friends, but that's it. I'm not an avid pub person. I would rather sit at home, crack open a bottle of my favourite beverage, which cost me about 80p or a quid, than just sit at home and drink, or go around a friend's house and have a drink there. So this is by no means me saying quick, use it or lose it. It's just an observation, it's just a thought. Is the thought accurate? Who knows? I could be talking absolute nonsense, or maybe not. It makes me wonder actually how many bike nights do we know are held at a pub, a genuine pub. You know, not one of these gastro-restauranty things, but a genuine pub. There was one that I used to go to near me, called the Waterman. Is that Moto Jim? Yeah, there was one that used to be near me. That was called the Waterman at Hatton, but that got shut down as a bike night absolutely donkeys years ago. And now, like I say, most of the pubs are going, most of the bike nights are held at cafes. But will it affect our bike nights? Will we have to find somewhere else? Where will the bike night go to when all the pubs have shut down because nobody uses them anymore? You seriously can't tell me that pubs can stay afloat just by bike nights. Can't give them enough income, surely.